Hello and welcome to Dingoes Ate My Podcast Season 2. This week we're discussing the episode Untouched. I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.
And this episode originally aired October 17th, 2000. Alrighty, so let's start off with music this week. Dave, any guess what the number one song in America is?
I'm thinking from last week, it's probably still up in the first place.
It is still Come On Over Baby, All I Want Is You by Christina Aguilera. You are correct.
Yeah.
Any idea what the number one movie in America for the week is?
My one immediate thought, just with last week's, I wouldn't be surprised if it still stuck around, but it's kind of one of those ones that it was big, but I don't know if it had enough staying power to be like, oh, let's stick with it, or if something else kind of came along and everyone's like, oh, shiny!
No, it has not been dethroned yet, Dave. It is still Meet the Parents. A movie that sure does exist.
It does. Does not have the same sort of staying power as its sequel, though.
I mean, does anybody care about Meet the Fockers anymore? I don't think they do.
Nah, it's pretty much just that one last particular thing about the movie.
I don't think I've ever seen it, so I don't know. All right.
Yeah, you probably enjoy it, but it's nothing too awe-inspiring.
Now for video games. Now, Dave, this was a hell of a week.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised with last week's getting the Pokemon Gold and Silver.
I mean, yeah. So, October 19th, on basically every platform available, there was a game called, and I'm not familiar with this one, but Donald Duck Goin' Quackers.
Yes. I do know very well of it, though never actually played it.
Okay. October 22nd, this was the Dreamcast version, not the PC. But however, doesn't matter because it's great. It's a little game called Quake 3 Arena.
Neat.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Quake series, really.
I know of it, but it's one that I've never specifically played.
Okay, fair enough. The next day, on October 23rd, there was a little game on the PC called Command and Conquer Red Alert 2.
Okay.
Are you familiar with
I know of it.
Okay. You're not terribly familiar with Command and Conquer, though?
It's either that or it's getting mixed in with a multitude of other games of the same style.
Fair enough. It's like a real-time strategy military game. They're quite fun.
Yeah.
And some of them have very, very good cutscenes.
Oh, is this one of the ones that still had the live-action ones, or was this starting to make the transition?
I don't know if Red Alert 2 did. Cutscenes. Is this the one that still had... Oh, this looks like it still had live-action cutscenes.
Neat.
Also, the Command and Conquer series, to me, having never really played them, is most famous for Command and Conquer Red Alert 3 Uprising, where Ric Flair plays a general and just goes mad.
In a typical sense, or like the Ric Flair kind of mad?
Like more than normal.
Oh, okay. So dialing it up right to 11.
Oh, he goes full on, like, coked out of his mind 11. It's great.
Oh, so breaks the dial and swirls it all the way around.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. And also on October 23rd, if you didn't have a PC and you had a PS2, you had a really good option. This little game called Time Splitters came out.
Yes. Again, know of it, but was, again, nothing that I specifically had at the time.
Have you played any of the Time Splitters games?
No, it
No?
was
Okay.
kind of one of those particular series, and at the time, it I knew of the first-person shooter genre, but it wasn't exactly the style of game that I liked at the time.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So that was quite a banger of a week, I will say. Alrighty. So, for this episode. Okay. This is going to take a while. Okay. Lila sneaks into Lindsay's office to rifle through his papers, but Darla is there. Darla reveals that she has been using a drug called, and I'm going to butcher this, calathenia powder to keep Angel asleep while she manipulates his dreams. Angel wakes to find Cordelia and Wesley bickering about whether they should offer to pay Gunn. Angel and Wesley begin to discuss Angel's sleeping habits, but Cordelia suddenly gets a vision that sends Angel out to save a young girl from two potential rapists. As the two men are about to attack the girl, she telekinetically slides a dumpster across the alley and smashes the men against the wall.
Yeah, Cordelia's response of, oh man, he's gonna be too late. And the case of, ah ha ha, he's not supposed to save the girl.
Well, mm-hmm. At the crime scene, Angel pretends to be a detective in order to get information about the crime from an officer. He wanders inside an old building and finds the young girl from the alley. Scared, she sends a rebar through Angel's chest. Upon realizing that she didn't kill him, she seems a little less afraid. The girl returns to the apartment she's staying at, revealing her roommate to be Lila. Gunn arrives to offer his help, and Angel sends him out to find information on the men that Bethany killed. Alrighty. As Bethany drifts to sleep, she dreams of her abusive childhood and unintentionally sends a bedside lamp flying into Lila, who is watching her fitfully sleep. Terrified, Bethany flees from the apartment, throwing on a jacket. Bethany seeks Angel's help and discusses how her lack of control over her telekinetic powers. Holland stresses that if Lila's work with Bethany is unsuccessful, it could damage our other projects. Wesley deduces that Bethany has been sexually abused. While he pointedly mentions her father, she loses control, sending both him and Angel through the air. That night, Bethany finds Angel in his bed, and she offers herself to him, as the abuse she has suffered has led her to believe that all she is an object for use. He declines, and after they talk, he sends her back to her own bed. After Angel helps Bethany work to control her power, he meets Gunn at one of the potential rapist's apartment. He brings up the payment ideal, and Gunn agrees, meaning that Gunn is now officially a part of Angel investigations. They find evidence that someone paid for the attack on Bethany. Cordelia talks to Bethany over lattes until she is kidnapped by Wolfram and Hart's men. Angel and Gunn go after the men, and Angel is able to get Bethany back from them. At the hotel, Bethany's father is used as a weapon to set her off, and her control breaks. She causes serious structural damage to the building and lifts her father off his feet as she begins to telekinetically damage his body, basically like choking him to death.
No.
Angel is able to break through to her, however, and Bethany reveals that she has gained control over her powers by telling her father goodbye, while hurling him out of the window and allowing him to fall until she stops his descent like a few feet above the ground, letting him land mostly unharmed.
Yeah.
Her independence regained and her self-confidence increasing, Bethany calmly confronts Lila and packs up her things, striking out on her own. Lila and Angel speak at the doorstep as Lila reminds him that he is not invited in. In a last-ditch effort to stop Bethany from trusting Angel, Lila reveals that Angel is a vampire, to which the unfazed Bethany merely replies, weird. As Bethany walks away, Angel says to Lila, it looks like you're going to have to find someone else's brain to play with, to which Lila replies, yeah, we already have someone in mind. Angel tells Lila goodnight, and while he's walking away, Lila snidely mutters, sweet dreams. All right, so what did you think of this episode, Dave?
This was definitely interesting with, again, the style that they took with it, as well as the interactions with Bethany, with all the characters within Angel's team, and her interactions with Wolfram and Hart and the team as it is, with a bit of her story of how she's kind of suffered through it and has this power that she can control. Again, It's kind of one of the simple stories that anyone and their grandma has told 372 million times. But it's definitely good to see the end of the story. But I think the biggest thing was her interactions with Angel, Wesley, and Cordelia. With Angel being who he is, understanding the suffering and being able to somewhat have decent connection with Bethany without being completely destroyed by her powers if something happens, was good to give that mediation. Wesley, I think, was kind of the biggest one because he found that one particular point that was the biggest stopping point for that, and it just was something that needed to be touched upon. And Angel would most likely take his time before actually hitting upon that problem with it.
Yeah. Yeah,
But I
Wesley's a
think,
little bit like, we don't have time to fuck around here. I'm just going to bring up what happened.
or it was your father. Blast of energy. Hi.
Yeah.
And then Cordelia as well, with her abilities, especially with her abilities, actually seeing the vision and whatnot, but also feeling her reaction to everything, that she understands in a multitude of senses of what's kind of going on, and kind of talking with her of she understands that Bethany has gone through some stuff, but she doesn't want her to harm anyone within her group or to harm herself with any sort of stuff that's going on. And it was an interesting kind of point to see the show sort of go through with that. And I think sort of added along with the episode of her gaining her confidence of reaching those particular sorts of points. And it was definitely really nice with the end of the episode with her encountering her father and finally pushing him out the window, but not ending it because that wasn't going to be the big point. She understands this guy has done shit to me, but killing him isn't the answer.
Yeah.
Whether or not that was kind of the main point of the story, I prefer that sort of reaction to the alternative.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's. Yeah, exactly. So, a little bit of behind the scenes stuff for this episode. Some fun little notes. This is also another first, actually, for two different things. It's the first episode written by, and I'm probably going to pronounce this name wrong, Mir Smith, or Mer Smith. She'll go on to write a bunch of other episodes and work on the show for the next couple of years. It is also the only episode directed by Joss Whedon that he didn't write as well.
Okay. So got the script and whatnot and then just directed it from all that stuff from there.
Yes, yeah, it's the only time he's done that without actually writing the episode as well. It's also the first appearance of Gunn's little hubcap axe, which will pop up later.
Oh, yes. Case said he showed his axe. It's like, oh man, ready to do some demon hunting with this? It's like, we need to find a missing person. It's like, oh man, I wanted to use my axe.
Yes, yes. So, if there's nothing else about this episode. Okay. How do I explain the next episode without giving out spoilers?
Oh, one quick thing.
Yeah.
Is there any big thing with this episode in international titles?
Oh, right. We forgot international titles. Thank you for reminding me. Let's see. There are a few. So in French, it is Untouchable, which kind of makes more sense. In German, it is Out of Control.
Yeah, matches.
And in Italian, it is Don't Touch Me.
Okay.
All makes sense, but...
Yeah, with that. I think the interesting thing with this is with Untouchable from English and French, it's just case that she has powers and other sorts of things, but also sort of her story and whatnot from there. What I found interesting is the Italy one, the Don't Touch Me. It's a case of that line was used and it relates a bit to the story with that.
Yeah, it's none of the titles are great, but I guess it's yeah. Okay. So, this episode. Next week we'll be discussing the episode Dear Boy.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm going to try to tease it without giving away too much. Let's just say that, hmm, there's going to be some more nonsense with Angel and Darla.
Uh,
Something's going to happen to Darla. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Detective Kate Lockley is going to show up again, too.
ooh. Ooh. Again,
It's,
for the title, and figuring that there most likely will be a boy, but if there's going to be that person within the episode, that could lead to a multitude of things.
yes. This is one of those episodes I can't really tell you much about in advance because it's quite important, if memory serves.
Hmm.
So, until next time, I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.